This ain't abuse. This is government abduction with paperwork for camouflage. And we're done acting like it's legal just because it's quiet.
They say it's for the kids, but the money tells the truth. Every child they take turns a profit for the suits. No due process, no jury, just a file and a threat. You don't save a single child by breaking up the nest. They call it child protection, but the books don't lie. It's a state-funded business and the kids just qualify. Yeah, they took them through the system, not the street, not theft. I didn't lose my babies, they were stolen by the state. Yeah, they call it child protection, but that's not what it is. It's a federally funded pipeline built on stolen kids. Title IVE money turns a child into checks. Ass Faye pays bonuses just for severing the ex. Captain kicks the door in, no facts, no proof. One call, no hearing, now they own your youth. Family court ain't justice, it's a state-run sale with the judge, CPS, and the foster biz all for sale. Reunification, that's a lie they rehearse. A carrot on a stick and the stick is a hearse. They don't want restoration, they want termination. Cause the grant ain't paid out till they sign separation. They say it's for the kids, but the money tells the truth. Every child they take turns a profit for the suits. No due process, no jury, just a file and a thread. You don't save a single child by breaking up the nest. They call it child protection, but the books don't lie. It's a state-funded business and the kids just qualify. Yeah, they took them through the system, not the street, not theft. I didn't lose my babies, they were stolen by the state. Gal gets paid whether they lie or not. Guardian ad litem, more like government spy. They don't ask the child, they don't fight for rights. They protect the court's interest, not the kid's life. CPS caseworkers never swear an oath, but they take your kids like they own them both. No badge, no training, no liability, yet they make the kind of moves that'll lock you and me. Judges rubber stamp fraud like a human machine, holding court in back rooms, keeping transcripts unseen. No witness, no evidence, just hearsay claims, and the family gets erased like it never had a name. You wanna fix the foster system? Stop rewarding the removals. You wanna protect families? Put due process back in the courtroom. You wanna stop the trafficking? Defund the incentive. Until then, we're coming for the whole damn structure. You stole kids for cash, wrote laws to hide the crime. Said the parent was the threat when the threat was the design. Called it voluntary, called it ordered by the court, but a signature under duress is a hostage report. Now the parents are awake and the truth's on deck. You can seal every record, but the heat's still next. Cause the whole world's watching and the mask got ripped. The state didn't guard kids, the state trafficked kids. They say it's for the kids, but the money tells the truth. Every child they take turns a profit for the suits. No due process, no jury, just a file and a thread. You don't save a single child by breaking up the nest. They call it child protection, but the books don't lie. It's a state-funded business and the kids just qualify. Yeah, they took them through the system, not the street, not theft. I didn't lose my babies, they were stolen by the state.
This ain't neglect. This ain't abuse. This is government abduction with paperwork for camouflage. And we're done acting like it's legal just because it's quiet.
They say it's for the kids, but the money tells the truth.
Came with words already written before I spoke a sound. Labeled my silence as failure, laid their truth on the ground. 48 hours of questions I didn't know how to fight. They called it protection, I called it the longest night. You don't get to name me, you don't get my voice. I am more than your paperwork, more than your choice. You don't get to erase me with a stamp or a lie. I am still standing, I am still mine. Rooms with mirrors for walls, every breath under review. Love measured in minutes while they wrote what was true. Experts paid to remember what they needed to see. I learned how power whispers when it's dressed as helping me. You don't get to name me, you don't get my voice. I am more than your paperwork, more than your choice. You don't get to erase me with a stamp or a lie. I am still standing, I am still mine. Unfit is a word, not a truth. A story told to justify what they do. You don't get to name me, I reclaim my voice. I am not your narrative, I am not your choice. You don't get to define me by fear or control. I was never broken, you just never knew me whole. Unfit is a story.
Oh, there I am. Hi, guys, and welcome to the Sever Bond. Becca, your host here, and Alicia, who is muted at the moment. So we have a guest today. His name is Jim, and he is going to tell his story about him and his child and how his bond was severed. So, Alicia, if you want to bring Jim out, get him out here and let him tell his story. There we go. There's Jim.
Hi.
All right. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so basically, my case has gone on for like 6 years, and I spent $200,000. I've had 8 judges across Florida, Pennsylvania, and New York, and I've had 12 lawyers. And at the end of 2025, finally, as pro se litigant, and my team behind me, who is responsible for educating me and preparing me and doing motions and filings and affidavits, notarized affidavits on, and just preparing for, the endless court. I was able to do it as pro se litigant to get into a settlement. So all along the way, the reason why I've had so many judges and lawyers, obviously because 3 states.
Yeah.
However, it was only one judge in Florida because my son was absconded or kidnapped, taken, violating UCCJEA articles or the UCCJA Act.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you're viewers are aware of that, but it's the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdictional Enforcement Act
Mm-hmm.
is, the abbreviation. So anyway, when you take a child across state lines without the other parent's permission, married or not, I mean, in my case, I was on the birth certificate, you're violating various articles across those multiple states. So not just like the one state that the person left. So these articles encompass things like Article 61, Article 71, and each state, even though they share the UCCJA, except for one state, and I believe it's Minnesota, I believe, but don't quote me on that. They have their own version of it.
Mm-hmm.
However, 49 states follow this thing. So across all those state lines, the articles could change,
Yeah, they
even
do.
though they basically have, the same meanings behind them or similar or same language. So once I got to the bottom of this, like, where my child was, which didn't take too long, I immediately filed what was called a habeas corpus. And
Yeah,
at
we're
the
familiar
time,
with those.
what's that?
We're familiar with those.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
However, COVID hit, shortly, whatever thereafter. So, um, COVID hit and just basically closed everything down. And my question to the courts was, well, don't you have anything virtually? And they said, Florida told me, well, we're working on it. So I lost the first year of my son's life, even though I was actually invited to go down there and spend whatever a week with him. Um, it just, there was no real like home state at the time under jurisdiction, even though technically he was born in Connecticut and his mother was living in New York. So I was paying a form of child support, eventually, put myself on child support, but Pennsylvania gave me credit because my ex had been shopping around for, I guess you could say, like the best deal because I was getting stuff from Florida. So and my lawyer in Florida was saying, no, like that's not, you don't, no, you're paying this and that. And she, like trying to get it in Pennsylvania and all this stuff. But when it officially, Pennsylvania took it, they gave me credit for, every penny, whatever that I had, sent. Because even though the circumstances, I didn't agree with, all this. And obviously, especially since I was basically duped because supposed to come live on the farm here. I had basically sent child support in the form of a check. So
That's amazing because usually they just consider that a gift. Like my state does at least. They consider anything that's not in the order, they will consider it as a gift. So you're not reimbursed or you're not, credited.
Missouri does that. Missouri will consider thing outside of a child support order to be a gift.
Yeah.
wow.
So you got very lucky on that situation.
I was told that checks made out to her or money orders or anything like that were, and you obviously marked like child on it because I was sending a lot of Amazon stuff for the needs of the child.
Hmm.
And obviously, infant at 7 weeks old. They were considered the gifts. At least that's what I was told through Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
However, money, they considered it as a form of child support, and I think they were, I'm not going to say humble, but they were glad that I basically was sending my own form of child support when I wasn't ordered to, even though I was filing all this stuff, to try to get,
Hmm.
my son back up this way.
Hmm.
So anyhow, COVID hit, all that, this and that. So I had a lawyer in New York. I had a lawyer in Florida, which you can imagine is very expensive.
Oh yes, definitely.
And right, and anyhow, so I would say the summer or late summer, July, August, somewhere in there, 2020. Eventually, he came back up, and he was in New York with mom, and basically they're like bouncing around and whatnot, and not good for, in my opinion, development of a child.
Yeah, and their stability.
Right, the growth stages, disability, and the courts didn't care. So I had a good judge in Florida, the Honorable Judge Maxine Cheeseman, who basically said that, for verbatim, her story didn't add up and she could stay, but the child has to go back where it came from. And that
Oh,
was, yeah. So that was a good judge.
yeah.
However, and the lawyer was good down there as well, Amy Cosentino. Had a lawyer in New York, Daniel Clement, and he was supposed to be a super lawyer. He was super all right, super at stealing your money and not doing his job. So basically, I was just trying to get like 50-50 or close to 50-50, and it just was never good enough. Everything I did, everything the courts in New York asked. I mean, even my lawyer down there had communications with the lawyer in New York and was like, "What are you doing up there? Like, come on, it's like cut and dry." However, that's when the dishonorable, disgraceful, and diabolical, and I said that in the courtroom to her towards the end when she recused herself, the judge, Marianne Scataratico neighbor, who actually had a history of stealing thousands of dollars in Viola accounts from clients.
Oh, how
Brought
sweet of
up,
her.
yeah, which was actually brought up before a grand jury, and so many of these counts were founded, so many unfounded, what have you. And the article in the New York Yonkers Tribune said, "How can she be trusted to serve on the bench as a judge when she can't even be trusted with clients' money?" Not my opinion. That's what's written in the articles. So, anyway, I guess you could see what I was up against in New York. She was acting as a RICO with mom's lawyer and the AFC, the child's lawyer, for all throughout, I would say, what was it, 2023 December, when she recused herself, put a short order on me for no contact with my son in person or virtually. I said, "Why? Why, Judge?"
What have you done wrong?
Wouldn't answer. The only thing I can surmise is that under Bennett Goodman, a lawyer I had, one of my, lost count how many 8 lawyers in New York alone, because I had 12 total across the states. Um, I was trying to get like virtual appearance
Hmm.
due to my job because they were robbing me of my time, my time taken off from work for years.
Hmm.
And even my employer was like, what's going on here? Like, why isn't this settled?" I said, that's a great question, but it's I could do a documentary on it. So they kept stealing time from me, wasting time acting as RICO operations. And I actually had him on visitation, but it wasn't enough. And I had to do the distances to go get him, bring him back and everything. And
That's a lot on one person, for sure.
it's a lot. It was like over 2 hours one way to get there, 2+ hours to get back. And he was just, infant daycare. And under New York law, it states that when a child is in daycare and whatnot, it doesn't interfere. I think even the pre-K, don't quote me on the but I believe my one lawyer told me pre-K, it doesn't interfere with the custody visitation time. However, they didn't care. So They wanted parenting plans, which, I crafted beautiful parenting plans. I went to other daycares over here in PA, just trying to do everything to try to, instead of being like a every other weekend dad.
Yeah.
And, I never heard a child say, well, I only want to be with my mom or dad, uh, 4 days or 8 days a month.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, unless coach or whatever, but
Right.
you're right. I mean, there's many stories out there on that, but basically, the courts and whatnot were engaging in not only the famous terms parental alienation, but actually child psychological abuse,
Oh.
which technically the police and the bailiffs are guilty of crimes for aiding and abetting these bastards. Because in child psychological abuse, why don't you do anything about it when it's not physical and or mental? You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So,
Had,
they'll
had
come
anybody
swap team you with
mentioned
physical.
parental kidnapping?
Yeah, that too. I mean, again, UCCJA. I mean, that's where it all started. Even there was a lawsuit filed on me down there. I'm glad you went back to that point. Again, a lot to remember in 6 years.
Yeah.
But oh my God, I mean, and that's where under one of those articles in Florida under UCCJA, I believe it was Article 71 down there, subsection A, under that article stated that if you do this, you could actually lose all custody of the child. Yeah, now that's what Florida's article stated under subsection A. However, none of that happened. Again, there was no home state. And then you're going to love this. There was literally a motion filed with her lawyer, another diabolical individual, Sherry Beth Rackman, a scoundrel at best. She literally had a motion. Oh yeah, I have nothing good to say about these individuals. They tried to kill me, but tried to bankrupt me and tried to put me on the street, living out of my car. You know the deal. It's no
Yeah.
secret. Anyway, so she had a motion stating that to the courts that even if Florida does not take the home state, New York shouldn't either.
So they just leave him where?
Exactly. Exactly. So here, when it came back up to New York in 2020 in the summer, whatever, late summer, it took New York a while for them to take temporary jurisdiction. What they should have done was, especially since there was no home for the child, like stable home, no real stable job, good job, what have you, in comparison to like mine, where, he has a full bedroom, a farm. I'm a journeyman by trade, a union journeyman. I'm on my job now 25 years. I work for a major transportation. It just,
Jim, did I see that you were a veteran also?
yes, thank you. Yes, which they used against me as well, as they do.
Oh,
So I did want to ask a few questions about that. Okay. As far as how, while you were going through all of this, sitting in these courts, knowing that you served your time for these people to be able to do what they're doing to you, how did that make you feel? Knowing that they only have the freedom they have because of men like
There's
you.
Yes, and that's a great question. I'm glad you bring that up. It brings me to a famous quote about anger, and it's like, he who's not angry when there is just cause, for anger is immoral. And anyone who wants to know why, it's because anger winds up to the guard of and the good of justice. And if you can live amid this injustice without anger, then you're immoral as well as unjust. So for me, I was like, my God, the flag just got turned upside down in distress, because here, the same oath that I took to defend this nation, they're committing tyranny and they're violating their oath of office.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
right there,
reason
I
I
was
had
like
to ask was
angry of that about that.
my
Oh yeah,
husband's a
100%.
veteran, and we're noticing lately veterans being a veteran being held against people.
It is.
Our 2-month-old, she was targeted, not because he was a veteran, but he felt the same way. He felt betrayed. It was a betrayal in his eyes.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I mean, oh God, I mean, it really hits home. I mean, I feel it right here. And but there was those in history, and of course today, that will follow unlawful orders throughout history and campaigns and wars, and of course in the law system, if you want to call it that. I learned that it's not justice; it's just us,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not that. We're not them. It's just
Nope.
them. So anyhow, I just I was a hunter for many years since I was 10 years old, licensed. I mean, they tried to use that against me, even though mom had a firearm, and but they do all the silver bullet tactics to put the temporary orders on you. They put one on even her at the time. I mean, but a lot of it is like you almost have to wait for the right opportune moment, because as they dig their grave with going on and on and on and on and on with this rhetoric over the years or months, like I never said that mom was a gun owner. However, they were attacking mine and trying to use it against me as a FFL license holder, CCW and whatnot. So for literally, and then they wound up doing these racketeering operations where they took my joint legal custody away. I'm like, why? And they really wouldn't say. They kind of hinted at abuse back then, and I was like, I demand jury trial right now. If you're saying, I was like, where's the proof? Of course, they wound up dismissing,
Huh.
and yeah, because
Convenient.
they had no proof. There was no proof. I would never do anything to my son except love him unconditionally and protect him. And they wound up playing all these games. So my lawyer at the time in New York, Anna Avalon, was like, well, they want you to give up guns or this, that, and they'll give you your child back. I'm like, isn't that blackmail? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, and there wasn't even any firearms here at the time. You know what I mean? Like, it was ridiculous. So I wound up, because you want to do anything for your kids, right?
Yeah.
So I wound up utilizing the Pennsylvania law, even though the police said to the lawyer, because they tried, called her lawyer, Sherry Beth Rackman, called a couple of sheriff's office out here in different counties, and they just said, no, we're not doing anything. This guy hasn't done anything wrong, and we're not taking his guns. But so they kept my kid away from me for no reason. And that was with the police telling them. But then they retaliated because the police told them, we suggest you tell that judge to follow the law up there. And they got pissed. That judge, Scataratico, took it personally. So anyway,
Aren't you supposed to leave your emotions at the door? I mean,
I had lawyers at the time filing. They just basically wiped their ass with them. They didn't care. It was all their agenda, just like they do with the Constitution. They wipe their backside with it. And anyway, you know what it is. It's all kids for cash schemes. They operate as RICO, child trafficking.
oh,
So
100%.
anyway, okay, firearms, were locked up. I paid $80 a month in a freaking armory, even though it was a legal way to do it, even though they were like, well, like, well, what is this? And, because they were like pretty much stunned, like, like, well, you don't really have to turn or whatever. They're like locked up. So $80 a month or something. And they kept trying to use it against me. they tried to say, oh, that's not the right way to do it. We want the police. I'm like, listen, the police don't want to get involved. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is not New York law. I don't fall under New York law.
Yeah, I'm in a total
So,
different state as you.
right. It was just a ploy to get me to spend money, to have them in an armory, whatever. It's literally
Mhm.
like, I don't know, even like a shooting range or whatever over there, like a club, whatever. It's the state accredits it or recognizes it through
Mhm.
licensing, whatever. So like about a year or 13 months go by, and these temporary protection orders that were on mom and myself, which I never even had a parking ticket in my fucking life. So you know what I mean? Like I never had anything. So
That,
anyway,
that burns your ass in general then there too, because it's like I've never been in
yeah,
trouble. What are you
exactly.
talking about?
So
Like
the
I'm the model
judge,
citizen.
right, and the judge was like, well, okay, the temporary orders are going to expire on both of you, and and that's going to be that. And then her lawyer went crazy, and at the time I had a lawyer there, but he was worthless. Lenworth Williams, he caught him and AFC David James Peck hanging out at a party. You can actually check my public Facebook reels. I made a mockery of them because they were all partying together. Well, that's conflicts of interest. 1.7b of the Attorney Bar Association in New York. They didn't like to hear that. Anyway,
No, they don't like those. And I don't know if you're aware, but they have like interagency agreements.
mm,
Like, and those are by statute. Like they're mandated to have these.
mm,
But if you ever were to pick one out and read it, because I have all 50 states of them,
right,
you would shit your pants because you'd be like, wait, you read this and you're like, that's a violation of my rights. They can't come in my house. They can't have, but they
yeah,
all agree to, follow this contract law, this
right,
contract that they signed together, prosecutor, judges, um, what is it? The GALs, the attorneys, everybody work, the police department, they all work
right.
together.
Right, the bailiffs, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be keeping the peace. And, the FBI and the DOJ, of all people, bunch of cowards, because on their website, not my opinion, 18 USC 241, 242 states that if your civil rights, due process, violations, look, I had a $10 million federal lawsuit on these individuals, okay?
Hmm.
So, you know, uh, in the Southern District, I mean, I'll just throw out one name,
I
George
mean,
Soros. He
yours
lives in
is more
Westchester
than just
County.
due process and your fundamental rights as a parent. Like they stripped you
14th
of your
Amendment,
Second Amendment, First
exactly.
Amendment,
Even,
Second Amendment. I mean,
yeah,
they stripped you of everything that they
yes,
could.
they did.
The man
Yes,
went
they
out
most certainly
and
did.
fought for that for us. They
Yeah.
stripped him
I
off.
told that judge, Scatteratico neighbor, one time I said, regarding the 14th Amendment, I said, it states in there that it's for us parents to raise these kids undisturbed, and you're disturbing me. And I
Hmm.
said right to her face, you know, and to see, that's the thing, they're bullies. And
Hmm.
when you go up against bullies, you don't cower. You better speak. You got to speak professionally, and you got to speak frank, because I matched their decibel level. Okay.
Hmm.
If they yelled at me, at whatever, decibel 68, I was 68 back. If they brought it down to a 30, I was at 30.
We're at 30 then, but
That's it. Right. It was their ball game. It was their show. It was their playing field. And they can, of course, you know this. They don't want to. I have evidence stacked this high from text messages, everything, video, everything. And,
hmm
they don't want to hear anything.
no.
But I got that judge recused, long story short. And, and a little segue back to that point before we touched on that other part there with UCCJA. When the temporary orders were expiring, and her lawyer, Sherry Beth Rackman, was going crazy in there, um, because she wanted the order on me, but not on mom. And I'm just sitting there, and my lawyer, he ain't doing anything. So the judge was thinking about doing it. And I said, Your Honor, may I, Your Honor? And yes, Mr. Shaw. Your Honor, there's no proof. Anything is hearsay, and the orders expire. So, are you going to try to put this thing on me with hearsay again? And they were going back and forth, the lawyer and she got a little bit nervous. The judge got a little bit nervous because I came back. I said, if you do this, you're going to be served with a federal lawsuit, as well as everyone in this courtroom. And I made that promise, and I had them served. Okay, I paid the money to do it. But the judge, Marianne Scatteratico neighbor, she was like, when she heard that, and she knew I was serious. Oh, that's not going to happen today, Mr. Shock. I said, okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Because, I'll give credit where credit was due, And she goes, Miss Petta, where's my court clerk? Of course, she's sitting right down in front of her, like, whatever. She's like, make sure Mr. Shock has his letter of disposition so he can take it to the armory to get his guns back, whatever, and, stop paying the money. And make sure he has it before his drive back to Pennsylvania, 2+ hours, 3 hours, whatever. And I said, thank you, Your Honor. And I said, and I of course, you stand up to a drag, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Professional. And then I said, oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot. And, what's that, Mr. Shock? I stood up and I waited almost 13 months to say this. What do you want me to do with Mom's guns when I get them back, Judge? Oh, oh my God. Crying, the camera. What do you mean? Mom has guns. She never told her that. Is this true? She had said to her, is this true? Is this true? And she was all upset and this and that. And, hey, they attacked me on it for how long, right?
Got to use it strategically.
Right. So when pro se litigants or moms or dads are going through this, what I learned in these courtrooms is sometimes you have to hold your cards in this poker type scenario, and you have to know when to call their hand. You have to be smart, and you have to remember. You have to really. Nobody knows your case better than you.
Better than you. Yeah.
Right. And no lawyer is going to litigate your case better than you.
Yep.
But see, they overwhelm themselves as 18B lawyers in New York, which are paid by the state taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to get so many cases that they can't remember all the little nooks and crannies of everybody's case.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the cases are going on for years. So anyway, that was kind of one of the big crazy things in my case. And, and I, oh, well, do you want me to give them back? Oh, no, she can't have them back. And then my lawyer, Lenworth Williams, he made a big joke out of it. He was teasing the lawyer and basically singing the word hearsay and dancing in the courtroom as we were leaving. And this is what's going on. This is just one example.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. This is
on a mile-long list.
And like Alicia said, they violated my Second Amendment rights in that particular case, in that particular scenario for, I don't know, 12, 13 months and paid. And no police were even going to get involved with it. And State Representative Jamie Flick in Pennsylvania, who recently introduced a House bill over here, 1499 for 50-50 shared parenting off the back, was interviewed under Slam the Gavel with Marianne Petrie, whom I've been on about 5 or 6 episodes, and I'm in actually 3 of her books. These are 2 of them. Yeah. He said, there's me. He said that there's Marianne right there. I highly recommend, talking to her too. She's great. She's also a victim as well. But anyway, he'll tell you. He said on the show that the state police deal with these things, 80 something percent of these things are crap
Hmm.
because they're just, there's no proof, there's no evidence. Like, even when I was in a settlement, like a Perry Mason or a Colombo, so I'm questioning the mob, and I'm asking questions like, so you saw me in whatever your neighborhood? No. You follow police sport? No. All these answers to these questions about, because I was getting accused of stalking, harassment, all this stuff. I said, well, was there a police report? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it was like, it was just like there was none. Like they had answered there was none. So, that's the thing. Like, when you have this stuff on the transcripts, on the records, and I highly recommend buying the transcript, which I have all them. That's what you need if you're going to do a federal lawsuit.
100%. And and a lot of things, like I had an issue like when we were in court for my stepkids, like I appealed it. Well, the judge wouldn't even look at it because they
Mhm.
wanted us to pay for the transcript. The transcript was almost $500. We were already considered, indigent because we couldn't even afford a lawyer at that point, even though we were going, and it was our fundamental rights, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and they were like, "Oh no, we can't give you because I put in a motion for transcript at state's expense." Nope, they ignored it. Not a thing. And then went to appeals court. Well, lack of transcript, so there's nothing for us to look at. But the only good thing is that in state court they won't allow you to do it. But in federal court, on the other hand, they will allow you to transcribe the audio that they give you, because they'll give you the audio for $1. They'll give you a CD for $1 that has whole audio on it. You
Hmm.
can go home, transcribe it, and then you can submit it to the federal court, and they will accept it.
That's cool. I did not know that. Is that a state thing that get, because I
I'm not
always had to
sure if it is a
hire a
state thing, but
transcriber.
yeah, I'm not sure if it's a state thing, but I do know that in my state, I mean, we're right next door to each other, so I mean, it
Okay.
could be different. I mean, I would look into it, but I mean, I that was for the second district in Ohio, and I actually asked them that for the southern, is it the southern district? The federal court. Yeah, the federal court, the federal southern district court of Ohio as well. They said that that was a-okay.
Huh.
As long as you swore and you attested that the words and everything in there were true and correct to the best of your knowledge,
Mhm.
you could do that. I was
Mhm.
like, "Hey," I was like, "That works out for everybody." I was like,
Mhm.
"So I mean, I'm glad that we're giving, pro se litigants, because pro se litigants, obviously they can't afford it, or
Right.
even if they can afford it, it's not really feasible. I mean, and why spend $500 on something that you can do yourself in, a
Right.
couple hours time?"
It depends if you have the time. I mean, like
Yeah.
if you're, depends on your job, if you're commuting, it depends on a lot, I mean, I had to get transcribers to do it. I just didn't have that, I was
Yeah.
already doing enough, but again, it depends on the person's situation. And in New York, they don't actually, have a transcriber for at least whatever Yonkers and White Plains, Westchester County. So that position, whatever, doesn't exist. So you have to get a
Yeah,
contract.
yeah, we do too. Yeah, we
Yeah.
do too, because they don't have transcribers in the family courts. They just audio record it, and then there you go.
It's such a shame. I mean, that there's no due process. I
No,
mean,
100%.
all your amendments are violated at one point or another throughout this thing. I mean, you know, in my case, went on like 6 years. You would have thought like this was like there was a body involved, like this was a criminal case. Like, to me, it says if you can't solve this thing, let's say a high conflict case in like less than a year, 6 months, 8 months, whatever, then you know what? Not only are you proving that you are acting as RICO with your cabal, your members in there,
Mhm.
it means you can't do your job, which means you ought to be fired.
Correct. And and the only thing is that the only person that's suffering is the child. In
Yep.
all reality, the only person suffering is the child. Well, I
Yep.
mean, and the parent, that actually cares,
Yep.
because they're losing time.
Right.
Time is everything. I mean, you don't get it back once it's
No,
gone.
I've lost years with my child. I mean, I've lost years and months, and it's disgusting. I mean, but they and a lot of it just comes down to the Title 4 Dini. Like, yeah, I had prejudiced judges, but I also had judge that was based on the fact, like the facts and the law.
Yeah.
So in the scope of such a big case across 3 states,
Hmm.
with the amount of people involved, 8, 12, and but
The
yeah,
judges that are actual lawful judges are far and few in between. I
yeah,
mean, it's just like, I mean, I guess, essentially they all have an employer. I mean, they're doing, what they get paid to do this. So, hey,
yeah.
it's just like
Well,
applying for a regular job, realistically. I mean,
the Title 4 D&E programs, unfortunately, are incentivizing these judges and
oh,
lawyers.
100%.
And it's like, in Pennsylvania in 2013, we had a couple judges out here that were engaged in the same kids for cat. Well, not the same. I take that back. They were kids for cash schemes acting as RICO, but they were basically, it's like you get these juveniles in these like courts. It wasn't family court. And basically, it was like they were threatening them, like, hey, if you don't sign this, you're going to really go away for, like a long time. And these kids were scared and the parents didn't know. So by doing that, they were putting these teenagers and young kids into the system. They had no business being in the criminal system for, smaller type stuff, mischief things, whatever.
Petty theft, whatever.
Right. And graffiti, whatever.
Yeah.
And this one kid, they put him into prison, whatever. He couldn't take it. He committed suicide. So the judges, once this thing went down, they were ordered to pay like a couple $100 million, and awarded millions of dollars to the family, which it's not going to bring your kid back or the time you lost, and,
Yeah.
and obviously the rights violations that they're doing. But I do know the president at the time, Biden, was getting out of office. He pardoned one of those judges, and in the crowd was the mother screaming at him, "You murdered my child! You and these judges murdered my child!" And the judge was walking. Yeah, it was on the news. So, we have got to remove immunity for them. That's
100%.
key. That's key. And we have to start judicially holding them accountable. And the problem is the federal courts don't give a shit because they're the ones writing the checks for the Title 4 D&E.
Hmm.
How many millions of federal lawsuits are being thrown at, DOJ, FBI for all this stuff going on? Like I mentioned earlier, the eight, whatever, 18 USC 241, 242. What about 42 USC 1983 deprivation of right? The list goes on and on. And they just, they're protecting them.
Oh, 100%. They shield them 100%.
Yeah.
No matter what, it does not matter. And I'm sitting here like I can't even believe I literally had in my habeas because I filed a habeas petition in federal court. Like I get that federal court can't do anything, but then they claim that state cut like I mean, technically, if you want to be technical, kids are in custody when they are placed with someone other than the parent. They are considered to be in custody. That does not mean a custodial facility. That does not mean jail,
Right.
a foster home, something of that nature. And this judge literally put on my husband's filing that he was not able to pursue 1983
Wow.
or a habeas. And I'm like, haha, wrong. Then my husband was put on the marshal's watch list for supposedly threatening the judge because when I had wrote the motion for it, it was you are to do your job. You are willfully neglecting your duty
Mhm.
to address this issue. I have told you time and time again that this is not kids do not have to be in in actual a facility, because he even stated in one of his orders, custodial facility. They're to be in a custodial facility in order to be established as for habeas corpuses.
Mhm.
And I said, no. That's not how that works.
Right.
Anybody who is in state custody is considered in custody. Custody goes beyond that.
Mhm.
And
See, that's what you want on the record.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
he didn't like that.
obviously, if you come back later and grab the transcript, you want that, and that's what they try to do. They try to, when you know your verbiage and your language, and you know your, parts of the law that apply here, and you try to get that on the record, they try to shut you down, try to silence. That's why they won't have us protecting ourselves with cameras in courtrooms.
Oh,
It's only their
100%.
cameras.
Yeah.
But yet that's why the police are wearing cameras today, because unfortunately, the actions of the few,
Yeah.
cost, the broader scope, they have to wear cameras.
But see, was isn't that but here's my thing is that because they always are like, oh well, you can't record us. You're a
Right,
public servant. I'm not a public servant, but you can record me.
right. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and who put them there? The taxpayer.
Right? And I'm like, it's a total
Uh,
walking talking contradiction to itself.
you know what? 2026. I'm telling you, 2026 is big. Robert Garza has over 500 bills for the entire country. Mark Ludwig. There's a lot of big people. Former Mayor New, Andre Rainey in New York, and Garza's out of Texas. But there's a lot of state representative Jamie Flick. He's got 50, something like 50 co-sponsors behind the bill. States have already changed to 50-50, like Florida and others. But times are changing, and the exposure. Look, I've been involved in rallies and protests. We shut Yonkers down. I stood shoulder to shoulder with moms and dads, because at the end of the day, this is it's going to go down as big as like the civil rights under MLK. And I told them in the courtroom in White Plains one time, I said, how dare you? You have a statue outside on that boulevard with MLK, and the building is behind it. And you violate civil rights, and you put that statue out there like you're some holier than thou, and you prophesize, and and you're upholding the law. Get the hell out of here, these individuals. And I called them out on it. You
I
know,
yeah.
what a disgrace to like that man's cause, and they're in that building doing the corruption and
Yeah.
the child trafficking as RICO. FBI brought down the mafia under RICO years ago.
Uh-huh.
Years ago. Well, why aren't they doing it now? You know
Well,
what I mean?
you know.
So it's so easy to get passionate about this, obviously, because these are kids. We love them to death. I mean, but we have got to keep speaking out and exposing them.
Yep.
And protests, rallies, it's Jonas Fernandez right now. They're doing protests in New York like every 3 weeks. They have a protest scheduled for but I do see a lot of other protests as well around the country. So, you got to get the exposure out. You have to let people know, because they just don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I thought when I went to family court, I was like, okay, well, this ain't going to be
This is
long.
gonna be easy. Like,
It's going to be easy. It'll,
they'll see what all her wrongdoings are and what mine, maybe my thing, maybe a couple things they have wrong with me, but
right,
okay,
exactly.
they're gonna
Yeah.
go and see through this.
Best interest of the child. Okay, let's get this done and move on.
Yeah.
You know,
Nope.
so you know what? They're getting paid to do a job, and they are not doing it by choice. And it's, again, the short version acronym is RICO.
Yep.
And they know their time is limited with the changing of the law and stuff. And,
And
you
it
know,
should be. And Ohio has actually done, they actually have done a House bill recently for pretty much giving more power to the judge,
uh,
to the judges to decide, and not give parent, I mean, just completely, it was everything for the judge. It was literally, I can't tell you how many videos I've watched on, advocates and people being like,
yeah,
this is a judge's bill. Like they
yeah.
literally have nicknamed it the judge's bill
Wow. And see,
because
and
it's
look
not
who's
even
doing
for the
that from the
kids.
top, down.
Yep.
The
And I'm
puppet
like,
masters.
I'm just sitting here like, like as it stands right now, like my husband lost custody of his two kids to a non-parent third party.
Hmm.
And wait a minute here, and wasn't proven unfit.
Hmm. Yep.
So, but there's different standards that they have to meet. You can't meet, because the best interest or preponderance of evidence. It has to be clear and convincing evidence.
Hmm. Right.
And but and it's crazy because the magistrate that I had, well, I went to high school with this girl.
Hmm.
She's the same age as me. She
Hmm.
graduated the year before me. And I'm like, she knows she was friends with the opposing party's attorney. Had went to college with him, made it
Conflicts
very
of
clear.
interest. Conflicts of
Yep,
interest.
conflicts of interest. And I'm like, wait a minute here. I'm like, this I we had in our custody case we had three different, there was one judge, the actual main judge, and two different magistrates. This whole, and it wasn't even it was a year, it was over a year's time span,
Hmm.
and a magistrate and two judges. The judge actually entertained it from the beginning when there was already a established custody order.
Hmm.
They never modified the custody order, nothing of that nature. Then when I take it to federal court's like, we don't deal with child custody, but you're
Yeah.
not touching base on the liberty interest of the child. Their liberties and their rights are being violated.
Right.
Hello,
Right.
where
Yeah.
were you?
We don't deal with child custody, but put your hand on,
Yeah,
swear your oath, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, well, then why are these judges taking an oath to the
yeah.
Constitution?
And why do they get to make these laws about families and wait? But you don't deal with family. Federal court doesn't touch with family. Then why are they able to make these laws or these policies? I guess I should say.
Yep.
That decide your family.
And like my federal lawsuit, like good point when you brought up, federal court versus like family court. No, they don't do that. My transcriptional evidence was based on not what, like, okay, the opposing, like my kid's mom did this, that. No, 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 no. It was on the factual evidence of what federal laws have been violated here. When it was crafted, see, because that's what they care about. They don't
Mhm.
care about he, she, mom, dad, the kid, this, that. They're not, and that's fine. That's fine. They're
Yeah.
there for what federal laws are basically broken, violate, whatever. And it went so far, and I don't think they knew what to do at first, because they were like, holy shit, this guy's right. Because you got to put forth the transcriptional evidence. I mean, I even had this judge call me, well, I don't think you're smart enough.
Huh.
What? Yeah.
I'll show you how
On
smart I
the
am.
record. So you calling me stupid, Your Honor? Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Sorry, already too late.
Yep. It's
Baggage.
on it's on the record. Thank you very much.
Yep, exactly. And that was just one of many.
Oh yeah.
Judges are supposed to carry themselves with a certain highest standard and a certain code of conduct, right?
Oh yeah.
So, that's code of conduct. What is it? Because my beard is too long, Judge? Because I look like Duck Dynasty or whatever. And anyway, but the
Yeah,
federal
they just
lawsuit was based off and fulfilled transcriptional evidence, and they didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden they were like, okay, well, and they kind of like dismissed it. and a whole bunch of moms and dads. I was there. We protested the court, and they were like, "Oh my god!" And and because I had asked for my 30-day, you're entitled to ask for a 30-day, whatever the hell it's called, extension or whatever. And then once
A
that
stay. Yeah. A
stay, right?
temporary stay. Yeah.
And once that happened, they're like, okay, you can have your 30 days. You can have your 30 days. Like, look at this shit. And I got my 30 days. But then my team and I, we just decided that at that point, it wasn't to continue after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't worth the hassle,
Yeah. So
it
we
was just
let it kind of sunset out, and in the family court at that point in time, things were changing, and you know, it just you know the deal. It's all done by design. It's all about the money. I mean, yes, you do have biased judges out there, but then you got some judges like I had that they were more about the facts, and hey, this guy, he's a stand-up dad that he wants to be with his kid, and
and
so
realistically, the only thing that they're doing is just putting a bad taste in people's mouth for judges that are doing the right thing, that are, you
yep,
know, litigating the law, and they're, doing what they're supposed to do, because when I go into court, I'm hostile because you don't know. I mean, realistically, what kind of judge you're about to have.
right,
So I'm like, my nerves and my tension is up, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what's going to go down today?
right,
And it's like, well, is this judge going to be okay? They're going to hear me and they're
mhm.
going to listen, or are they just going to completely ignore everything I say and just do what they want anyways? What kind of show is this going to be today?
Uh, the first the first when you were saying this, it brought me back to a time when I first got the case back to Yonkers, Westchester County, New York, um, the hellhole of the United States. Anyway, I just kind of let the lawyer do. You know, I didn't speak like we're speaking now.
Yeah,
The first whatever year and a half, I just kind of
let
just
them do their thing.
right. Well, once I figured out, like, hey, this is a fucking racket, and these lawyers being threatened, like you said earlier about doing the right thing. That's
Hmm.
I had a lawyer, my first lawyer. She came out of there and she said, "Jim, I don't know what to do. They're not following the law in there."
Nope.
She was like a year or a year and a half out of law school, and yeah, they're threatening these lawyers in there that if they don't play
You
ball, and they're
state
also threatening
something.
these
Your
judges.
job as an attorney is to also report crimes.
Right.
Includes crimes in the courtroom.
But the
Yeah.
money is more important to them because, especially as 18B, and because I think at the time, yeah, the opposing was always getting paid by the state, 18B, they call it. So I was always paying for my lawyer, so they didn't give a shit because I was paying. But once I got to like 4.5 years, I was like, I spent enough money. Yo, when I hit like almost $200,000, I was like, I'm not
I'm
paying for
done.
this
I'm
anymore.
not done. I'm paying your salary. No, thank
And
you.
they said, "Oh, Mr. Chuck, we'll give you a lawyer."
Oh, now you want to give me a
Oh,
lawyer.
really?
Now
It
you want to
doesn't
give me a
matter
lawyer.
whether you pay for a lawyer or whether you have a 18B lawyer, a free lawyer, whatever lawyer. Don't matter. You have to be the lawyer.
Yep. And I tell you what, when I had a CPS case, and I had a great lawyer. Like, he was literally, his name's John Herndon. He's like, I think CPS is a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit. He's like, they literally do this to, steal kids. They get paid for it. He says, I hate them. He says, I hate them.
Yep.
And he said, so when he went in there, he was a public defender. So, I look back now and I see like everything that I've learned and I know now, like when you stipulate, so they stipulate for you. Well, when they stipulate, that's a contractual agreement
Mm.
that you're not even aware of as a parent, because they don't tell you this. Your attorney doesn't tell you this, because even he didn't tell me this. But that was my only downfall with him, was that he didn't tell me. because I was already too far into the game. I had signed over. I had signed the safety plan.
Right.
So he was trying to strategically work it back. I got my kids back in less than 6 months.
Hmm.
Like, so I don't, he was like, look, he's like, you screwed up. He's like, you signed a safety plan, and they knew I had counsel, but they
Hmm.
made sure that they got to me and had me sign a safety plan before I talked to my counsel. I hadn't spoken to him.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's all
Yeah.
retaliation. I mean, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
I got, almost a 50-50, and I have a good, settlement agreement, they're still retaliate. Like in the contract, it's all retaliation, especially like with her lawyer, it got personal. However they can retaliate in whatever way,
Hmm.
because it's not even about like accepting defeat, because it's so ridiculous, because we're supposed to be there for the kids.
Yeah.
Like what the
And they
fuck?
make it into a game, and they treat your kids like, and
Yeah.
that's what blows my mind, is that we're not here for me. How many times did you go into court and actually talk about your child?
Right, exactly. That's
Because
what I
it's,
mean. Like it's like these lawyers, and then what the hell is the AFC? Like this bum, this guy, AFC, David James Pecka, Brodsky and Peck law firm in New York, Harrison or whatever. Like, what have you done for the child? Like I mean, it's just like it's like nuts. Like you're supposed to be acting in the best interest of the child.
yeah. And even, and
Let's
but
go.
see, that's the thing, is that
But they're
what
making money.
is what's their definition of the best interest of the child?
Right.
And because everybody has a different one, so you can't base it on, okay, this is the best interest. That's what you think, but you don't live day-to-day life with this child, with
Right.
their parents.
And they don't
So
even know us as parents.
no.
Right. And okay, they know, okay, well, okay, he's got a job, he's this, he's that, blah, 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 blah. And I love how they put like, oh, we searched the records of the what do you call it? Like um the what like the predatory thing. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
the
yeah, the sex offender registries
thank
and
you.
stuff.
Yeah, sex offender. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. Sex offender registry. We searched this, we searched that, blah, 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 and they find nothing. But then you go to court
And you're
and
like, "Wait."
right, it's like, wait a minute. So you said this on paper, you signed your name, but yet that's what I'm saying.
You
Like,
don't live by it.
right, but you don't live by it. It's such a scam.
It's a fucking
And
that's right, and the
such a
one girl said in the comments, "It's a sick sadistic game."
Yep,
Correct.
yep. And they need to stop. And believe me, 2026, it's happening all across the nation. I mean, you even look at the PAPA movement in the UK, which is Parents Against Parental Alienation. Yeah, PAPA, it's called. That guy is amazing. And like, it's just like, there's so much like movement going on that's bringing all of us together as judicially targeted parents.
Mhm.
You know?
100%. And I mean, realistically, we have to come together,
Yep,
in order to, because we're all here for the same cause,
yep.
regardless of the approach. Like, we had a podcast last night, Dave Wiggle, and and there were
Oh,
some
okay.
differences of opinion,
Yeah,
and but if you're not perceptive to other people's opinions,
right,
then you're going to be stuck only doing this one thing. Yes, it may work for one person, but it doesn't work for all.
right,
You
right.
have to be able to receive other people's opinions, their what they've been through, what they've experienced. If
Yep,
you don't, then, well, you're just going to be stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again. And
yep.
I want to help solve the problem. Now, I
Right.
want to be the resolution, not the cause, or not
Yeah,
contributing to
I
the
try
cause.
I try to utilize like my experiences in the 6 years and all the stories and the people that I've talked to over time with their cases and everything. And like I try to use what worked for me to help other moms and dads, because it just comes to a time where like we're going to be doing this forever if we don't settle.
Hmm.
Sometimes in those settlement agreements, um, you're just going to have to give.
You have to
And
give to get a
they know
little.
it's not right. You know it's not right. But you know what? Hey, a lawyer once told me one time that whatever can be done in court can be undone in court. and things change over time. And
Mm-hmm.
these kids get older and they develop their own, opinions, which they're entitled to, obviously. Circumstances change, so, and
We can
I,
always come back here and, spend more money because, that's the scheme. We're going to spend
well,
more money to come back here.
true, but if you just go back with a small type of thing, just go in
Yeah,
there,
sometimes they're just like, oh, okay,
you're just going to go modify a custody order.
yeah,
But what I'm trying to get at is, like, you got to get past the whole years of fighting. You can't keep doing that because
yeah.
it's a merry-go-round of madness. You get on the merry-go-round, you pick whatever animal you want to go up and down on, or right round and round and round, and you're going to go round and round and round forever. You're going to fall off. You're going to hit your head. Oh my God. You got to get back
Mm-hmm.
on. And this cycle of these, like, crazy
Vicious cycle.
narcissistic lawyers and stuff,
Mhm.
they just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And
Most
who's
never.
the one? Your health is going to suffer. I mean, I have ADA rights. I could do a small show on how I got my ADA rights.
Mm-hmm.
Opposing counsel was furious. So wait a minute. Are you a neurologist, a doctor? Like, really?
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean, they're ridiculous with
Oh,
some of
yeah.
the shit they try to say. Like in this case, the one time her lawyer was, oh, I didn't even get a chance to file a motion, but of course the head clerk shut the lawyer down because the head clerk told her, like, hey, this man filed in EDDS and he filed it here and you were basically served. So if you didn't do your job,
That's
as a
on you.
lawyer, right, your due diligence, then sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I was being abused for years by the council like that because they knew I was far. They were ordering me there in person, fuel, tolls, hours there, hours back. I put a different SUV in the ground over this. And it's just the same shit on and taking time off from work. So had I known now, or had I known then what I know now, I probably would have done things a little bit differently. But
Mm-hmm.
you know,
In
how
that time, you're not very. You
right?
go into like, I mean, like I watched this one guy on TikTok and he's constantly about ADA rights and he's like, look, he's like, anytime you appear in court, you're automatically under a disability. He's like, look, he's like, you go into a total different mindset. You're being told that, you're
See, but
this
they
and
don't care about that. Like, look,
yeah.
even if you get PTSD from them and you have
Hmm.
it, they don't care. Like, I had an existing condition, for many years, but they exasperated it. The courts are guilty of exasperating, my health. However, when you basically download the forms from your courthouse on ADA accommodations. You
Hmm.
download the forms, and obviously you fill it out. You have your doctor fill it out. In my case, neurology, whatnot, because they do not want to fight a doctor,
Nope.
especially when these doctors like that I have, they're surgeons and neurology. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they do, and when you have a history of something, like they do not want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. And,
Nope. Because they're speaking on stuff they don't even know. They can't even fathom.
right, exactly,
And they don't
exactly,
want to. They don't want to have to say anything on the record. That.
correct. I
Well,
I received a decision and order like that,
oh, I bet you did.
like that. Yep, yep. I
It's
mean,
crazy how quick you can make them jump
yep.
just
And
by one
so,
paper.
long story short on that, I mean, without talking about a year on ADA rights, it's just that, I mean, because I was just in a group chat the other day, and they're talking about all this ADA. So I was like, but you're missing the point.
Yeah.
If you have a condition, because that's like, say you want to get on a plane, or you're out in the public in any of the 50 states. Well, and you already have ADA rights. Well, they have to give you like an ADA accommodation. They have to help you. Whether, okay, we'll give you I don't know, we'll give you a wheelchair to, so you don't have to walk or whatever. You know what I mean? They have
Yeah.
to provide some sort of remedy.
Yeah.
It's called reasonable remedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you go to family court, unless you really have something like prior,
Yeah, that they can actually see and witness,
right?
and
Bullshit. Unless your doctor, like, unless you go to family court, and this is just an example, you didn't have anything, and all of a sudden they do this to you, and your doctor's like, oh my God. And they start, your regular doctor starts documenting, and it's like, they say like, hey, Jim, they really messed you up. And and you have like a year, 8 months, whatever, 2 years, and you have a history, and your doctor is the professional.
Mm-hmm. That
um,
decides. But I mean, I don't necessarily also trust the hospital systems as well either, because well,
right.
they're and some I've had a doctor tell me nothing was wrong, and oh well, go to a surgeon, and this was torn, but you know what I mean, like,
And
but yet they're them just trying to explain
sure,
off, like, hey, like, no, it's just because this person's so old, like,
right.
and they will throw the elderly out and not give them care that they are entitled to,
Mhm. Oh yeah,
and
that's
it's
a
sad.
whole. Oh God, the whole elder abuse thing. All that.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother world
that's
of.
a whole other ball game.
Exactly. That's a whole nother podcast. It's just, I'm not trying to say this too as like to try to gain an advantage in the court. I'm just saying that we have certain rights. And
Hmm.
if you are a person that has ADA, accommodations, you have serious health problem or a health problem that the court and family court has to provide some sort of reasonable remedy, then you have every right to apply. And
Hmm.
it's not to gain an advantage, but in my case, they were doing it to try to get me into a motor vehicle accident. They were trying to get me fatigued. They were,
They
physically,
were MK Ultra,
right,
straight trying to psychologically
right,
break you down and
correct.
use that against you. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep. And, but it didn't work, my God. So, with
Because
that,
some people are immune to their tactics,
yep,
and when you're awake and you're seeing these things, and you're like, wait,
yep.
wait, I see you
Too,
again.
when you when you have a case go on for so long, I mean, I know cases that have gone on double what mine went through,
Right.
double the year, 12 years, 15 years. It basically puts a message out there to anyone who hears the case, whether you're a mom, dad, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that person because that's not the definition of a deadbeat parent.
No, that's the one
That
that fought.
parent is fighting,
Yeah.
doing everything the court asks, year after year after year after year. And they
Yep.
are doing everything good. It means that those court actors cannot come up with a reason to
To
take
make
your kid away,
you
to take
to
your kid,
fit their narrative.
right? Because they have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that you are a harm, you shouldn't have your kid, and they can't do it.
No.
They only make themselves look bad.
Yeah.
They do it.
Pulling for straws.
Yep.
Pulling
Yep.
for straws all
Yep.
the time.
Yep.
And it is pure craziness at how many straws they will reach for. And people think, oh, they wouldn't do that. Don't underestimate. Don't underestimate.
All I ever wanted with this thing, I mean, I love my son to death. I just wanted some good time with him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yes, we're far away, like, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, 3 states away, whatever. But, you know, when you share a child that type of distance, you know what I mean? You need to have some custody time. How are you going to plan anything? It's just common sense. But,
Yeah.
if you have, your, your children or your child's mother or father fighting you, blah, 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 and they don't want you to have those kids at all, then that's where the courts,
That's where the courts come in, and they know that it causes conflict, and
yep,
like
and they
it's
stand
not
on it. Yep.
they use it to their advantage, and they will,
Yes, they
and
do.
they will play. What's even sicker is they will play the father and the mother against each other.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm sitting here like, why can't everybody just co-parent? Okay,
Right.
the only you guys are like, does nobody ever get it? Like, shut up, swallow your pride.
You
Who
know what?
cares? It's not about you. It's about your child.
It took
Like,
it took two people to make these kids,
yeah, but
and
it takes 50 to
right.
get you to get along.
I mean, yeah, it's and exactly. I mean, and when you have someone constantly pointing the finger at you,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's the mom, dad, the AFC, the judges, this and that, the lawyers, constantly pointing. He's this, she's that, he's this, she's that, blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing. Like there's no police reports. There's nothing. That right there, it tells the entire case. Like
Yep.
if the parent was so bad, show me it. Show
Show
me
me the proof.
right. Tell me where I can go visit the mom or dad in prison.
Yeah.
Tell me. And
Tell
it
me
can't.
where I can read this report that says that they did this,
Right.
and this.
Exactly.
You have to have a facts. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't have, like, I have learned in this whole scenario, my dad always told me that keep every record of everything. He was
Yep.
old school. He's like, keep a record of everything. He says he would when he died, he had like 20 years worth of freaking paperwork. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, but some of that, and he's like, you never know when you may need it.
Yeah.
Says, and that is important. He says, because that documents everything. He
Proof.
says, and don't, he says, you need a paper trail.
You do.
You need a paper trail. And I
Yep.
tell you what, I have paper trailed it to the schools, to the state, the complaints, I mean, I've paper trailed it all. Like, I go into a meeting and I'm like, I leave the meeting and then I will send an email because
Mhm.
I'm like, look, I'm better on paper than I am in person.
Mhm.
So I want to tell you that you did this, and this wrong. This
Right.
isn't how we're going to do it. You're not being lawful. You're not following this rule, and we're going to fix it.
Yep.
And they're all like, so when I walk into the room, it's one of those, oh, God, like we
It's
got to
just
deal with her again.
it's such a shame because everything's all computers today. I mean, I
Yeah.
grew up in a time where
A handshake was your bond.
yeah, and we didn't have computers, so I had, thank God, the opportunity to know what it was like to have and to not have computers and to be that Gen X,
Yeah.
and, and
I
then
didn't grow up with a computer either. I mean, we grew up with dial speed internet. Like these kids would be blown away these
oh, I
days.
love I actually have a retro channel. Yeah, it's just small, but I dabble in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, like the kids would be blown away. Like they're like, I'm like, you
Yeah.
guys don't even understand the
Oh, my
struggle.
son, when I had my son, he had such a great time with that stuff. I mean, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, I have the PlayStations and all that,
Yeah.
and that's fine, but like he just got a kick out of all that stuff. And a lot of the software was he was actually learning, very educational.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like Reader Rabbit. Reader I can remember, Reader Rabbit back in the day. Like my grandparents had that one for me because that was educational.
Yep.
But it was like, okay, but like the old stuff, these kids are like, Mom, when the Wi-Fi's down, so help me God. The Wi-Fi be down for 5 minutes, and they're like, "This is being so slow. It's taking forever." I'm like, it used to take like 10 minutes to upload one picture. Like,
Oh yeah.
you couldn't be
No,
on the
I
phone,
love
but you were on the
that.
internet.
I wish I could get dial up back. I mean, I'm still using my old computers, and I actually Commodore.net came back. They just released in 40 years like a brand new Commodore. I have one sitting here,
Oh
but
wow,
yeah, brand new, brand new. But
oh wow,
anyway, um, yeah, they all connect to my Wi-Fi, and it's like people that see it, they're just like, "Wow, how is that even possible?" Like, you
blown
know,
away.
yeah, blown away. Like, but
Where did you come from?
yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, we fight our fights. We want, we're going, trying to get these kids back and have a good relationship and this and that with them and have some good, good custody time. And it never really had to go to this level.
Nope.
It's really sad that, that these lawyers and judges and whatnot and the conflict of the opposing parents will put that first over their kids.
That they benefit from
Profits, you know,
everybody's pain.
kids for cash schemes.
Yep. They benefit from everybody's pain.
Yep. And the government, and that's why
I've
they're
been looking at it.
because they're the ones signing the checks for the Title IV DNA. It's literally that simple. That's
Yep.
why these presidents and stuff aren't doing anything about it. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Bill Clinton had a lot to do with the Title IV DNA.
He did.
It went really bad after him.
Yep, it did. And everybody's like, "Oh, Clinton was a I think you guys should probably do some research." Like,
Signed a document that enabled child trafficking, for God's
yep,
sake.
100%. My governor, Ohio's governor, Mike DeWine, was also he was one of the people that helped design that bill.
Wow.
So I'm like, so Ohio, it's like parents and child accountability act or something like that. And
Right.
I'm like, oh great, thank God he is going out of office this year. Woo, I am so ready. I'm so ready.
I just, say to myself, it's unbelievable this is happening in America. It's unbelievable. I mean, the land of the free, land of the brave. Come on, like it's just unbelievable.
There's no freedom there. There
No,
is no freedom
I
on
mean,
this.
yeah.
We're more of a third world country now than we've ever been.
I mean, third world countries, they don't even do this
Yeah,
because
no,
more family, like they don't even do this. I mean,
no,
you have more rights to your children in Russia, in a communist nation, than here.
yeah,
The shit
and
don't exist. It's like I found that the UK, United States, Canada, and Australia are the epidemic for child trafficking, RICO operations, kids for cash schemes through the family court system. From my research over the years, those four are the big ones.
it's, it's
Ground zero.
it's crazy. And to
Sad.
look at the money and you can get on any state's, you know, um, website and look, see how
Yep.
much they got.
Yep.
Alicia, did you just start music on me? It's time to wrap it up. I know, woman. Sorry.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, it has been a pleasure talking with you and meeting you because I haven't. You've been in contact with Alicia, so I've just been sitting in the background.
Yep.
But yeah, so it was nice meeting you, and
Definitely want to have you back on also if you
definitely,
would like to come back on.
That'd be great.
and maybe next time Alicia will show her face. I know she has a baby right now, so
Okay.
she's
That'd be
not
great.
much
Well,
of a
it's nice meeting. It's Becca, right?
yeah, Becca. Yep,
Okay, just wanted to say that right. Yeah.
yep.
Well, yeah, it's been nice pleasure meeting you and Alicia, and pray that everyone can get their kids home.
Home safely. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
and just have these kids and share them and just
Love them.
because the love, like you said earlier, once you lose them months and years, they're gone.
Yep, they're gone. 100%.
So
All right. Well, you take care, and we will hopefully be in
Jim,
contact soon.
thank you.
And
before you
Yeah.
hop off, I want to say thank you for your service.
Thank you.
as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yep.
All right,
And
Alicia, take us out of
everybody
here.
have a great night.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good weekend. Be
You
safe
too.
with the snow coming.
Yeah, right.
The fire's still burning, toilet still broke, grocery list endless, our wallets are broke. Put our hearts into building this home, didn't think we could lose all we'd known. Found a new church, baptized our sins, some God we don't know. In a church we've never been, why do we have to fight to be happy and fight so others can be? We lost our son when we were winning to someone who lied about new beginnings, and it can't be undone once you've seen it, and it all changed in a moment. but I feel it. But I feel